In this video, we are going to review dividing a decimal by a whole number using several different strategies. So the first strategy I would like to review is using base 10 models. And I'm going to do a drawn visual, but you can, of course, use the base 10 blocks. So here I have 3 wholes, 8/10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 100 that I want to break apart into 3 equal groups. So I'm just going to use kind of a chart to make my groups. So I have group 1, group 2, and group 3. And we want to be able to divide those equally. And I always like to start with my largest place value when I do this. So I can take, there are 3 wholes, so I can equally divide those up. 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, and I have used all of those. Then I can start to put my tenths, and I see that I can make like groups of 2. So I can put 2/10, 2/10, and 2/10. I've used all of those. I cannot equally break apart or the last 2/10 into 3 groups the way they are. So I do need to essentially decompose those into hundreds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I still have that 1. So now I can say that I have, well, I could probably do, let's say, like 6, 6, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths. I've used all of those, and now I actually just have 3 hundredths left, so I can put 1 in each. And now I have used all of my 3 and 81 hundredths. And so now I just need to see how much is in each of these groups. So I see that I have 1 whole, I have 2/10, and I have 7 hundredths. So 3 and 81 hundredths divided by 3 is 1 and 27 hundredths. And now I want to take a look at using kind of a similar strategy. However, in this strategy, we will not be drawing base 10 blocks, but we will be still thinking about those groups that we can make. So I, again, just want to kind of draw a chart with my 3 groups. That's 2, that's their second group, third group. And I want to think about groups of 3. So I am dividing 5 and 49 hundredths divided by 3. So if I'm thinking about wholes, I can make 1 whole in each group, and that would take away 3 wholes from our total. I'm going to add placeholders. So I have 2 and 49 hundredths left. If I want to now think about how many groups of 3, I can't make wholes, but I could say like 5/10. 5/10 times 3 is 1 and 5/10. So I could definitely do that. So I could add 5/10 to each of these groups. And if I take away 1 and 5/10, I would have 99 hundredths left. And so if I were to now say, let's take maybe a group of 3/10, because 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 times 3/10 is 9/10. And we want to make sure we put those in each group, Miss Irwin. And now I have 900ths left. And so in order to figure out what we have remaining, 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 groups of 300ths is going to be our last amount that we can put into each of these groups. And so I have nothing remaining. So now we just need to see, well, how much is in each group? So 1 plus 5/10 plus 3/10 is 1 and 8/10 plus 300 is 1 and 8300. So here we have 1 and 8300. And you may notice that the part that we have here, we are subtracting, so we are doing repeated subtraction, and that's going to kind of lead us to one more strategy we can use, and that is partial quotients. And so I just want to show you what that would look like as well. So here we have 8 and 6100ths divided by 3. And so to use partial quotients, we would have 8 and 6100ths, and we want to divide that by 3. And so if I'm thinking groups of 3, well, I can multiply first by 2 because 2 times 3 is 6 wholes. And I, of course, want to add my placeholders to subtract, which means I have 2 and 6100ths left. And I want to think about, I know that in the past we've thought about like 3 times 1 would be 3, 3 times 2 would be 6, and 3 times like 5 would be 30. And usually we get bigger and we say, well, times 10 times 20 times 50. But at the same time, we could also kind of go backwards and say like times 1/10 is going to be 3/10 times 2/10 is 6/10 times 5/10 is, no, okay, 5 times 3 is 15, Miss Irwin. I'm apparently multiplying by 6. Would be 1 and 5/10. So we could kind of use that same strategy, or if you have other things you know as well, you could use those. But I can say that I have 5/10. I can multiply 3 by 5/10, and that would be 1 and 5/10. And if we subtract, we have 1 and 1100. So here I actually think I want to multiply by 3/10 because that would be 9/10. 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 groups of 3/10 is 9/10. And if I subtract here, I have 2100 left. I know 3 times 7 equals 21, but if I multiplied 3 times 3, 7/10, I would have 2 and 1/10. So here I actually need to multiply 3 times 700 is going to be 2100. And when we subtract, we get 0. So if we add up our partial quotients, we would have 2, 8/10, and 700. So 8 and 6100 divided by 3 is 2 and 8700. So you can use partial quotients as a strategy to divide decimals as well. And those are using our strategies for dividing decimals.